Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On our channel, we talk about all things homesteading and try to implement some of those things on our rural 100 acres in southern West Virginia. Well, today we are trying to play catch up. Standing here in the barn where we have our brooder. There's plenty of videos in the past we've done concerning our brooder, where we brood our egg layers and our Cornish cross. And nice. About a week before we got our Cornish cross that we ran through the brooder, ran on a pasture, and have processed, we bought 25 Black Australorps egg layers, of course, to replace some of the older birds in our flock. Well, we brooded those with the Cornish cross. Well, they've always been a kind of an afterthought since we've gotten the Cornish cross. Last week we processed the Cornish cross, so we're done. Chicken tractors are empty. So now it's time to come back and look at these guys. Obviously, they're about 11 weeks old. So that's a little bit too long to stay in a brooder. In fact, that's a little ridiculous to be in a brooder for that long. But I really didn't mess with it so much because I was really surprised with how they just hung out here. We're in the barn, so they're protected as far as the elements go. And they've just been hanging out here. I've been still feeding and watering them in this spot. They'll come out and move around a little bit, but they really haven't come out too far. In fact, I was surprised how much they stayed inside the barn and didn't get out and wander, and haven't had any predator pressure coming in because I've got pigs all around, electric fence all around, so not a lot of issues there. So really just kind of set and forget type of thing. Well, now it's time to straighten up. We got to get this brooder cleaned out. It's way past due. It's a little funky, and obviously we got to get them out of the barn. I want to be able to get my tractor back in here, and I don't want chickens on the hood of my tractor. But so we still have 25, and what's funny is I came down here the other morning, and one of them was standing up here on the standing up here on the edge of the brooder, and she was kind of doing a so either she has an identity crisis or she is a he. I think maybe a male slipped through the order process there. So I've got another rooster. Unless he exhibits some sort of extreme personality traits, he may be destined for the pot at some point soon. So the game plan is I'm not ready to move him in with the rest of my chickens. Still a little too young. I'd like to break him into there easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him to one of the chicken tractors. We've got 3 vacant chicken tractors now. So I'm going to move him there, and all I need to do to convert that chicken tractor from a broiler tractor or pen to an egg layer is simply add roosts. Obviously, with the Cornish cross, you don't have to worry about them roosting. They don't. So with these, I'm just going to add 2 roost bars to the chicken tractor, and then we'll be able to move them there. Maybe run them a couple more weeks. Maybe 16 weeks we'll move them into the flock. And then what I'll also do is I could even have that chicken tractor coming around the pasture where my main flock is, so they can start to get used to one another, looking throughout the fence there and the wiring of the chicken tractor. Well, so these roost bars are going to be quite simple. Again, because this is going to be a temporary setup, I'm not necessarily going to have them in it for a very long time. So what I have is just had a scrap poplar board that I found in the wood shop, and just ripped it down. In fact, I didn't even worry about making it the same width. I think we're 2 inches here, 1.5 inches here. Cut it to the length, that is the width of my chicken tractor. Cut some notches in it so I could rest it down on the 2x4 lip there. And it's about 7/8 of an inch thick. So, on a hard edge, if I was really wanting to be fancy, I'd maybe sand those edges down or even round them over with a router. I don't want to be fancy. But we'll stick it in there. I'll go do 2 with 25 chickens. I think we can line up 25 chickens on 2. And I'm just going to go into the middle there. I've got my water bucket, of course, for the water on the outside. And then the actual bell water on the inside can slide along the conduit on the top, so I can push it further back because I don't want them roosting right over top of the water where they'll be pooping down into their water. And of course, for the egg-laying chickens where they don't eat as much feed, I'll just use a regular hanging feeder, just like a bell feeder, and not use the troughs that I use when I have the broilers in there. So we'll stick it together. just using one, where'd my camera go? I'm just using one screw to get that snug, or as they say in Germany, we want it guten tight. So get the first one in there. We'll try the second. So there we have it. So with just a couple screws and a basic saw work there, got some roost bars, and they're pretty stout. They'll hold the chickens. They've been hanging out on that 1/2-inch conduit. Came down and saw 12 of them at one point on the conduit. It was bowing a little bit, but I think this poplar will do well. Well, the last step obviously is just moving the chickens, and that's where I usually recruit the boys to do that stuff. They're good at stuffing chickens in cages. So we'll have them come down. Actually, come down right before dark. It may seem obvious to everybody, but messing with chickens right at dark or after on the roost, you can grab them and manipulate them a lot easier instead of in the daylight. If they've got access to wide areas, then you may be chasing them all over the barnyard. So we're not going to do that. We're going to wait till dark, go down and get them while they're sleeping, stuff them in a cage, bring them down, and put them in here on the roost. Well, one thing I strongly recommend adding to your arsenal of junk around the homestead is some cages. Again, we've talked about moving chickens, moving the Cornish cross, moving the Australorps. If I need to move some of Cam's chickens elsewhere. Right now we have 3 different groups of chickens. When we had our Cornish cross and the chicken tractors, we had 4 different groups of chickens. So there'll be times we need to move things around. And a little cage is really handy. They make obviously poultry cages. You see Joel Salatin use them. You see a lot of these big processing farms use them. And those suckers are expensive. Fiberglass, really nice. They're can be as expensive as a couple $100. So what I just have some pet cages, and you obviously don't want to be transporting chickens a long distance in that, because all the wire and stuff can damage them a little bit. They can get stressed out and wings a bit stuck through there. But just here on the property, going back and forth from spot to spot, it's no big deal. So we toss these in the back of the side-by-side. The boys can come down, put the chickens in there, close the gate, and go from point A to point B. So you can look for these type of things. I believe my brother gave me these, although if you would ask him, he'd probably say, no, you borrowed them and you've never returned them. And of course I say possession's 9/10 of the law, right? But you can look for these type of things at yard sales. What's really neat is if you go to some of these old antique stores, as long as they don't want a fortune for it, you'll see a lot of these antique shops still have the old wooden chicken crates that people used to use back in the day, and they have them for decoration. It's funny, I was looking at one and the guy said, oh, that's a lobster cage. I'm like, that's not a lobster cage, that's a chicken cage. And so he didn't even know what he had. But you can find some of those wooden ones that are neat, and usually you can get a pretty good deal on that unless they think they're made out of gold or something. But be sure to have something like that. If you've got chickens on the property, you need to move them around a lot. That's easier than trying to stick them in a sack or carry them like a football, that type of thing. It makes it handy to transport your chickens from point A to point B on your property. Bunch of chickens. Well, the boys got the chickens moved last night after dark. They didn't have any trouble there. And now we've got them in the tractor. They spent their first day in here. So it looks like it's going to work out pretty well. They are using the roosting bar. It's kind of funny, they don't seem to tear up the grass as much as the Cornish cross did. Of course, the Cornish cross wasn't tearing up the grass as much as they were just pooping a whole lot more. I'll still move this daily and move it to new spots in the meadow here each time, of course. And that'll just help supercharge this section of meadow too. It's been a long time since it's had any good nutrient on it. So we'll see how this goes. Well, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe below. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Red Tool House Farm. All right, take care, everybody.